Hey guys, surds are not scary things. Even though every time I sit down with someone and they give me a list of things they want me to go through, surds is generally at the top of that list. So in this video I'm going to go through surds really slowly for you, help you hopefully understand exactly what's going on. They come up a lot, and they come up a lot in the non-calculator paper. So this is a really important thing for you to learn, for you to get your head around. And I know they look horrific, but they're really not horrific. They're actually okay. If you want some more questions, you can pop over to my classroom channel where I've done an extended, longer version of this video with loads and loads more examples in for you. Whenever you see a question about surds, the first thing I want you to do is to write down your list of square numbers on the corner of your page. I strongly recommend that you learn them all the way from 1 to 13, 15 and 20, and you'll notice that I've already made you flashcards, I've already made you a video for this, so I've done loads and loads of the hard work, but these are the essential ones that I really want you to learn. I know surds seem awful, but surds are just a simplified way of writing out numbers. So if we wanted the square root of 5, writing square root of 5 is actually quite a nice, easy number to write out. It's much easier to write out than 2.236067977, which is a long and horrible number to write out. So we just say the square root of 5. So what it is a way of simplifying writing out numbers. When we're dealing with surds, they can seem rather nasty. So you might be asked to simplify something like square root of 8. Now, whenever you see this, you need to look down your list here and decide which of these numbers can you divide 8 by. Now, I know that I can divide 8 by 4. So I'm going to do that, divide 8 by 4. 8 divided by 4, that is going to give us 2. So I can say that the square root of 8 is equal to the square root of 4 times 2, because 8 is equal to 4 times 2. And I can also say that the square root of 4 times the square root of 2 is equal to the square root of 8. All I've done is put them into separate square roots here. Now we know what the square root of 4 is because it's over here on our list, that's 2. So we can remember that as 2 times the square root of 2. We don't really need to write the times down, that is just 2 square root 2. So the square root of 8 simplifies to 2 square root 2. Simplify the square root of 12. Again, look down our list. Whenever you see a surds question, I want you to write this list down. Can 12 be divided by any of these numbers? Yes, we can divide 12 by 4. So that gives us the square root of 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So that's the square root of 4 times the square root of 3. Square root of 4 is 2. So that is 2 square root 3. Slightly more complicated now, we have 2 surds that we need to multiply by each other. So we're going to put them in one big one. So 80 times 5. Now we need to know what 80 times 5 is. So doing that sum, we come up with the square root of 400. And looking at our list, 400 is on our list. So the square root of 400 is 20. These ones are getting ever so slightly more complicated now because we have a number outside and a number inside the square root. So 4 square root 5 means the 4 used to be in the square root and came out. So we need to look at this list and find out what 4 squared is, because what we're going to be doing is saying that this is equal to 4 squared times 5. 4 squared is 16. So 16 times 5. Now we need to work out what 16 times 5 is. So that is the square root of 80. Doing the same for the other one. We are saying that that is 2 squared times 3. 2 squared is 4 times 3. So that is the square root of 12. So now we need to do 80 times 12 gives us the square root of 960. Now we need to divide this by, have a look at our list over here, see what we can divide it by, see if we can simplify this in any way. And we can say that 960 is equal to 64 times 15. So it gives us the square root of 64 times the square root of 16. Square root of 64 is 8. Square root 15. Square root 175 divided by the square root of 7 gives us square root of 25. Square root of 25 is 5. Square root of 54 divided by the square root of 6 is the square root of 9. Square root of 9 is 3. Last style of question here, this is multiplying out the brackets. So, our nice little smiley face there. So we have 5 times 4 is 20, cross out the one we've just done. Square root of 3 times the square root of 3, this is the tricky bit, is 3. 4 times the square root of 3 is 4 times the square root of 3. 5 times the square root of 3 is 5 times the square root of 3, giving us an answer of 23 plus 9 square root 3. Again, here is another one. So 7 times 7 is 49, plus the square root of 3 minus the square root of 3 is going to give us minus 3. So I've done that one and I've done that one. Plus 7 square root of 3 minus 7 square root of 3 gives us an answer, because these two cancel out, of 49 minus 3, 46.